Hey everyone, welcome back. It's a Wednesday night. I'm smiling because I've been struggling to talk tonight. So my tongue isn't working too well. It's a Wednesday night. And if you watched the last episode, I'd mentioned that I was going to Alaska. According to the schedule, when I filmed that, I should be in Alaska right now, which obviously I'm not. What happened, you might ask? Well, I'll tell you what happened. We booked the tickets, airline tickets on Alaska Air. They didn't mention anything about there being any travel restrictions to Alaska. We got the confirmation email from Alaska Air. They didn't mention anything about any travel restrictions to Alaska. Went to work on Tuesday morning, I think. Whatever day, Monday, whenever. I went into work to get ready the day before and got that email saying, hey, it's time to check in for your flight. And oh, by the way, down at the bottom, underneath everything else, was a little yellow banner that said, make sure you're aware of the travel restrictions to go to Alaska. So, as it turns out, you can't fly to Alaska without having a COVID test before you go, 72 hours before you go. What they said is you could fly to Alaska, and when you get there, if you don't have a COVID test, they'll charge you $250 to give you a test, and then you have to quarantine for 2 weeks at your own expense till everything's all good. So, I don't know about you, but I'm sick of this COVID shit, and I'll be glad when it's all done. So anyway, it's Wednesday night. I'm still in Utah. Let's see if we can't figure out something to do on this old Jeep to keep me occupied, shall we? Okay, well, sorry for using a bad word there, but it is Wednesday night. I'm stuck here at home. I've got not a lot to do because I don't have a ton of stuff here that I've ordered. I did get a little box from Morris 4x4 that has the ball joints in it that I think are going to replace all my ball joints. As I'm looking at that, I'm hoping I ordered the right thing. Some of this stuff, when you're ordering online, you're not 100% sure you're getting the right thing, but I think I got it. We'll see. And right here in this big old box, we have our 21-gallon fuel tank, which we won't really be able to hang until we get the frame paint in and get all that done. But it's in here, as is the skid plate and the spacers that make the normal size skid plate, hang down low enough to add that extra 5 inches that you need for that deeper tank. I've got leaf springs sitting here pretty much dry now, with the first coat of the black paint on the top of them. I'll flip those over and give them a coat on the bottom. I've put another coat of primer on the diff over there so that that's ready to go. And yeah, I don't have a ton of stuff I can do right now, but I didn't really plan to be here. So anyway, I do think that I'm going to get more stuff. Today's Wednesday, and checking online, it looks like, if I'm watching tracking numbers and stuff, probably Friday the UPS guy's not going to be too happy with me because I think a lot of stuff's coming on Friday. Hopefully we'll get at least the frame paint. If we do, then I can use Saturday to slap a coat of paint on all this stuff that needs to be painted. And if it doesn't show up, well, then it's okay. I mean, it's okay. We'll just deal with it. So I also today ordered brake lines and fuel lines to replace the old ones that I cut off the frame. So those will be on their way in here. But I do have now got, I think, everything I need to, once all this round of stuff shows up, I think I have everything I need to get the frame prep fully completed, get my leaf springs back on because I ordered bushings and so forth, and I've got my shackle hangers. I think I showed you those, or my shackles. So I think I'll have everything I need to flip the frame back over, get the leaves back under it, get those differentials back under there and whatnot. In the interest of ordering stuff before I'm up against the wall on it, I've started hunting around for wheels and tires. So that's a fun thing to do. I mean, we all know us dudes that like cars. We can spend an hour looking at tires. So I haven't decided exactly what tires. I think I might go with General Tires. One of the YouTube channels I follow is the guys from Montana up there, the Expedition Overland guys, and they obviously get sponsored by General, so they get their tires for free, but it does look like they're pretty good, decent tires and well reviewed and whatnot. So more to come on that. That's about it for right now tonight. I'm just kind of get things ready to roll with what I have, and see if I can get the UPS guy to bring me some more goodies so we can keep this project moving along. So I'll be back in a bit. Well, good morning. It's paint day. We're going to start painting this frame paint on stuff. So let me just catch you up on what I've done to get prepared. I'll spin you around here. So we've got the cross member and the steering box stabilizer sitting here on the table, all covered up with our blue rags so we don't paint the table too much. There's last night's work to get the springs painted, and I've got the shims sitting down there. Those have all been painted with flat black. The shims just got a little coat on the one side today. Here is the shackle hangers and the plate for the cross member. And as I said, I've moved the frame out into the middle of the room, the garage, whatever, and ready to go to town. So I will put on my mask and my gloves. I'll set you down, and I think all my prep work's ready. I think it's time to start getting after it. So let's do this thing. Well, I'm hoping I don't have mask face too bad, but that didn't go so bad. I used 1 and about 3/4 of a can of paint, and I have that's what the cross member looks like, my bumper brackets, that stabilizer bar. It's hard to see black on black, but there's the spring hangers, the big plate, and that's how the frame looks so far. So I think that went pretty well. I also got another coat of paint on the differential over there, just kind of twirled it around and did the last little bit that hadn't been painted of that. So I think the differential will be done, except obviously the cover. So realistically, that just leaves that front diff nasty looking thing over there. I was thinking the other night that I need to dig around in my box and get out the motor mounts before I'm all done painting, because they have to bolt back to the frame up that front there. So I'll need to get those out and cleaned up, primer and painted at some point in time here. But first coat's down. I think I got most of the frame rails, like, you know, over the sides. So when I flip it over, it won't take as much paint as it did, because I did both the inside and outside of the rails and the bottom of the rails. So when I flip it over, it'll mostly just be the top of the rails. So one thing I really is kind of annoying about this paint, I mean, I'm sure it's fine, but man, it wants that can to be straight up or the paint doesn't come out very well. So laying things down and painting them flat is a little tough to get good paint coverage. It feels like you're just blowing out the aerosol, but you're not really getting the paint out. So there's that I had to kind of figure out how to deal with, but I think it went okay. So I'm gonna wrap this for now, and about the only thing I can do now is let this stuff sit and cure for a while so I can get things where I can flip them over. So I'll make a note of the time and give it at least, you know, 4, 5, 6 hours before I touch anything or mess with it again, and then we'll see how she's feeling. If it all feels like it's nice and dry, turn it over. If it doesn't, then we'll just leave it as is, kind of resituate things in the garage here so that we can get the car back in and leave it for the week and do some more when it gets back. So again, I used 2 cans so far really of my 2K Aerospace Chassis Black Gloss Black Finish paint, and that's about 11.9 ounces, 12-ounce cans. So if you get to paint your own, you're gonna need to do what I did and get, you know, several cans of that. So I got 4 cans, and I think I'll probably be at 3 is my guess by the time I get everything done. Just because, you know, touching up and doing all that, I think that's where I'll be, because the second can's mostly gone now. So there we have it. That's it for now. Okay, well, it's been 3 hours since I put that first coat of paint down. So I just thought I'd walk out here and we'll have a look at how things are looking. So everything's very shiny and feels quite dry, or at least pretty well cured up. I'll tell you what I'm learning about that paint. Again, I think I mentioned how it doesn't spray very well with the can tipped. So like this plate right here, when I look at it at an angle, I can see it looks a little thin. When I see a place that I was able to get a good coverage on, I got a real high gloss finish to it. I can see a spot or two on the frame. Same thing, I think I could see like right here. It just looks a little dull, like you could stand to get a little more paint in that area. So here's what I'm gonna do, since I've got just about a quarter of a can or something left. I'm gonna stand up that plate somehow, get it upright so I can get it some more paint on that front face. And I'll use up the rest of the can just touching up here and there. And then I'm gonna call it for the weekend, because I gotta, like I said, I gotta go out of town tomorrow. So I'm not gonna get all the way through everything, but I think this will give me a good chance to let everything cure really nice. So I'm gonna spray a little more paint and then wrap it up, let it sit for a few more hours, and then I'll work on getting everything situated back over there on the side of the garage so we can get the car back in here. And then next weekend, after everything's had a full week to cure, then I'll take one more can. I'll really get to those difficult bottom sides of everything, and we will get the frame flipped over and get the top of the frame done. So let's do that, and I'll check in with you when I'm done. All right, well, I think that's about a wrap for the weekend here. So I've got everything, let's spin you around. I've got everything over here on one side of the garage. So I can slide the gas tank box under the frame and leave that plate on it. Had to slide it forward. Table then fits in the middle with the cross member on it. Leave springs to the back. And all the other little pieces are over here on the bench. So there we have it. We're gonna leave the rest for next weekend, and I'll talk to you after I've been to Alaska and back. So see you next time. Thanks for watching.